Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today you're probably wondering about how to get your needs for intimacy met while being a solo traveler. And I think that is a very important and valid conversation to have. In fact, I am in some forums with some women, and this is a question that frequently comes up, and I want to just make sure that I'm here to provide you with some tools, some information, and some resources to help you feel successful and confident that as a solo traveler, you can still have your needs for intimacy met. So let's just start at the beginning about intimacy. Intimacy is a basic human need. It's something that we as women and as human beings, we desire and we need. And in fact, having those needs met bring us joy. And in terms of intimacy, it encompasses a number of different things. Physical, emotional, intellectual connections that are really important. And I personally believe that they are essential for us overall to maintain our health. I personally believe that travel is a part of health and wellness. And so before I get into some tips regarding intimacy while travel, let me just tell you a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Nicole LaShawn, and I am a nurse practitioner with a background in family medicine. Here on this channel, I talk about things related to health, wellness, nutrition, and travel. And I am helping Black women ages 40 and up to create a life that we want to live rather than one that has been assigned to us. So if that is something that you are interested in, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel. So let's get into it. Intimacy. This subject can sometimes be taboo. And in fact, sometimes we are made to feel uncomfortable with talking about our needs and our desires for intimacy. And in fact, it can be uncomfortable for a lot of women. And I wanted to talk about it specifically because being that my background is in health and medicine, I do frequently have to have these types of conversations, and I don't think it's as uncomfortable for me as it can be for other people. I have practice in being able to kind of articulate things in a way that hopefully can feel comfortable for you. But let's get into it. So some tips that I have for you with regards to being able to have intimacy while being a solo single traveler would be: number one, figuring out contraception. Contraception is important. It's extremely important. And there are so many options that are available to us as women. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but you know that there is hormonal, there's non-hormonal, there's invasive, there's pills, there's shots. There's so many options available, but in order to be comfortable and confident with intimacy during travel, you definitely want to make sure that you have nailed down what works best for you, that you have access to it, that you have it available to you, and also be aware that depending on where you travel, you don't want to be trying to figure that out while you're overseas, because the access that we have here, being from America, from the United States, you may not have access to certain things when you're outside of the United States. So number two that I have, hygiene. Make sure that you have a hygiene routine that makes you feel comfortable, that makes you feel confident, and that makes you feel that you can fully engage and show up as your full self. Not only for your feminine and intimate areas, but also, body odor. All of the things are involved, because ultimately, what it comes down to with intimacy is it involves a close connection. And so you want to feel like you are bringing your best self forward to those interactions. And the way that you can do that is to ensure that your hygiene is always taken care of. Now, I'm not going to get into specifics with regard to hygiene in this video, but I do have a video with some tips on hygiene for us as women. So go ahead and watch that video. I'll try and link it below. Number three that I have is practice articulating the things that you do and don't enjoy and the ways in which you enjoy them. have you practiced that? Have you practiced articulating certain things? And it's not always about articulating the things that you don't like. I feel like that's the easy thing. But, what is your love language? What are the things that you find attractive? Is it quality time? Is it receiving gifts? Is it physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation? It is so helpful to be able to be aware of the things that you find attractive, things that make you feel as though you're receiving the intimacy that you desire and require, because it is going to be helpful for you to be able to articulate those things, especially with partnership or relationship or connections, whether long-term or short-term, to be able to have those needs met. Number 4 that I have is manage your energy and stress levels. Now, if you are someone who kind of feels like you'd like to have energy for intimacy, but you have none, it could be because you're stressed. You could be just so stressed, overworked, and overtired that you really don't have the bandwidth to consider intimacy. And in fact, it may be off-putting to you. And that's one of the beauties, I would say, and benefits of being able to travel, because hopefully you have or are willing to take time to rest and to relax and to just create more energy to do the things that you wouldn't normally do. Because if you have 2 jobs and 3 side hustles, then you're not going to really have the energy to be able to have a desire for intimacy, or even maybe put in effort that would be required to make those interactions meaningful. So think about what energizes you. What energizes you? For me, it's like exercise and like getting outside, getting in the sun. Those are some of the things that help to energize me. And also making sure that I'm not overscheduling myself. I like to kind of travel slow, and I really enjoy having the time to just do the things I want to do and not being overscheduled. And I find that does definitely creates more energy to invest in intimacy, if that's what is desired. Spending time with friends can sometimes make you feel more energized. So it's for you to decide what makes you feel energized. But if you're traveling and you're feeling taxed and exhausted the whole time, then you are not going to be in a great position to enjoy intimacy. Number 5, check your mindset. So check your mindset. I think this is really important because there are so many things in our culture that will want to make us feel ashamed to desire intimacy and connection. But think about that. Sit down and spend some time checking your mindset. And wherever you're at is wherever you're at. You may be someone who's very conservative, and that's fine. But recognize that there's a difference between being conservative and being private. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're a conservative person, just because you're not necessarily conservative when it comes to intimacy doesn't mean that you're not private. You can be private and you can enjoy intimacy in ways that you find fulfilling, and you can keep those things private, right? You can still have standards, and you can still have ways in which you conduct yourself that doesn't make you feel as though having intimacy is something that you should not or ought not do. It's a basic human need. It's a basic human need. And so check your mindset and just recognize that, you can make your own decisions. You get to do what you decide to do. And if you haven't taken the time to sit down with yourself to decide what it is that you feel comfortable with and what it is that you don't, then you may want to spend some time doing that. Number 6, establish boundaries and standards for yourself for this season in your life. And think about certain boundaries and standards that may have been put on you that you didn't necessarily agree to, or maybe no longer serve you in this season of your life. If you're at a season of life where you're not looking for getting married or having children, then maybe the standards that you are following are no longer applicable to this season of your life. Not only that, but taking time to decide what you find is important and fulfilling, and what you decide is okay. And furthermore, you have the right to change your mind, right? So how you felt about things 1 year ago, you have the right to change your mind today. You don't necessarily have to continue with doing things in a way that you did them in the past. You're grown. You grown, right? So you get to decide, and you get to change your mind as many times as is necessary, because the only constant thing that we have in this life is change, right? So just know that in life, you're going to progress, you're going to change. The way in which you have seen things in the past is not going to maybe necessarily be the way that you see things now. So, it's okay. It's okay to change your mind concerning certain things. Number 7, get tested routinely. Yes, get tested for STDs routinely, regardless of whether you are planning to have intimate connections or not. Medically, I always feel it's wise to go ahead and get tested regardless, because back to my previous point about having boundaries and standards, one standard that you may set for yourself is that you are not intimate with people who aren't tested on a consistent basis. And that's a very good standard to have for yourself. And I am the type of person who believes that if that is a standard that you expect of others, then you should have a willingness to reciprocate. So if you are expecting others to maintain a certain level of health, then you should also be willing to do the same. So yes, get tested on a regular basis. Number 8, make sure that you carry and use barrier contraceptive methods. Very, very important that you are not leaving the responsibility of your health in someone else's hands. You can take responsibility for that and be prepared. And whether you make use of them or not, you can always, pass them on to someone who needs them if you don't personally need them, to be honest. Number 9, recognize the usefulness and benefits of a good, healthy relationship with yourself. There are so many health benefits to being intimate with another one physically, specifically, including like lowering your blood pressure, having a better immune system functioning, improving your self-esteem, decreasing excessive appetite, having better sleep. Also, it can help to improve pelvic floor muscles. So there are benefits to being physically intimate, especially for us as women overall. And those are things that you may not hear about. In fact, that's probably information that people don't want you to know. They may want you to think it's all bad. And it's not. So just know that there are some health benefits as well that you don't want to miss out on. Emotionally, there are benefits as well. Number 10, consider using dating apps or get yourself into social settings where the people that you desire frequent. So, it does require you to put yourself out there, connect with people, restaurants, sports bars, whatever, dating apps, whatever works for you. But human connection is something that we all need. And I think that we learned that during COVID. We all need human connection. And it is also important, for us to surround ourselves with communities of Black women. And there's a certain level of connection and love that we get from that. But there's also certain needs that can't be met from that type of interaction that we need from a different type of relationship. And that is okay. it is okay to be aware that you also have additional needs outside of what the community of women around you can provide for you, and putting yourself in environments where you can have those needs met. Another, I guess, tip that I would say is have fun and smile. Life is to be lived and life is to be enjoyed. I truly and honestly believe that. So, while you're traveling and while you're enjoying your life and while you're seeking intimacy and connections and friendship, do so and have fun with it, because I think it really impacts and affects your energy and the vibes that you give off and the ways in which people will approach or receive you. You will more likely receive positive energy if you are putting out positive energy. And that's one of the beauties I think that I really enjoy about traveling, is because you're really in a position to be a new person when you're in a new place. You can release some of the things that you're used to, and you can essentially kind of walk out without anybody knowing you, and you can try and explore the aspects of your character, your personality. If you're normally introverted, you can try and be extroverted for a day. If you're normally quiet and you normally don't talk to anyone, when you're traveling, there's a certain level of freedom that allows you to tap into some aspects of your personality that maybe you've disconnected with. And that's really just a beautiful thing. So I hope that you find those tips helpful, and I hope that we can carry on this conversation. I would really love to speak about this more in depth, because I am finding it's something that is frequently coming up. So I know that it's something that you all want to talk about, how we can facilitate ways in ensuring that we are going to be having healthy intimacy while traveling, and that we're avoiding isolation and feeling fulfilled in all aspects of our lives in this season of our lives. So if you found that helpful, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Let me know if there was anything that I missed, ways in which you find are helpful to maintain intimacy and connection as a solo single traveler, or if there are anything that you would like to share. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Bye.